getting a score, and I don't give a fuck. What's up, everyone? Welcome to my review for Paranormal Activity 4. And yes, this is Gors' Month of Horror number 10. We have finally made it to 10, and what better movie to review than Paranormal Activity 4, the brand new iteration in the Paranormal Activity saga. I like saying that word, saga. But Paranormal Activity 4, I like Paranormal Activity. It might be a guilty pleasure to me, but you know, I just think it's a good, effective horror series. It's kind of scary at times, it's humorous at times, it gives us some somewhat likable characters, and, you know, I like Paranormal Activity as a series in whole. So, I was looking forward to Paranormal Activity 4. What did I think about it? Let's talk about the story. The story for Paranormal Activity 4 is set in the present this time, which I thought was cool because the last two movies were, of course, prequels to the first one. The second one, semi-prequel, and then turned into a sequel later on in the film. Actually, just the ending was a sequel. But this time, we are set in the somewhat present, 2011, close enough, and we are following a completely different dumb white family. You got the mom, you got the dad, you got the 6-year-old boy, you got the cat, he's roaming around everywhere, and then, of course, you got the 15-year-old daughter, who is actually the main character of the film, and you also have her boyfriend, who comes in a little bit later in the film, very, like, 10 minutes into the film, you get to see the boyfriend, who becomes a pretty big main character in the film. And, yeah, they're just doing dumb white people things. They're, you know, being funny. They're being white in the beginning of the film. And then, out of nowhere, this little kid named Robbie is a little creepy bastard. You know, he comes up and he knocks on the door of this family and hides in, like, the little playhouse in the background, in the backyard. He's a little creepy bastard. And then out of nowhere, something happens to his mom where they have to go and take care of this kid because the mom gets rushed to the hospital, and they have to go take care of this little kid, and of course, because they're taking care of the little kid, bad things start happening. Of course, ghosts, ooh, paranormal activity. So, yeah, things are happening, blah, blah, blah. This young girl's like, yo, there's weird things going on. If you've seen any paranormal activity film, you know where that's going. And he's like, oh, weird things are going on. I'm going to record it. And she starts recording it, of course, and, of course, bad things start happening because she has to be a nosy little bitch. So, there you go, there's the story there, and for the most part, it's the same thing over and over again. I mean, we expect this now. It's just going to be the same thing over and over again. But you know what? At least give me some good scares and likable characters. And right now, I'll say right here, I like the characters in this film. I think they're actually very funny, very likable, very relatable at times. And you know what? I kind of like the characters. I like the characters in every Paranormal Activity film, especially the third one. I really like the father in that movie. Well, the stepfather in that movie, I should say. And I really liked him, and I really like the boyfriend in this movie, in Paranormal Activity 4. He's super funny. Every time he goes on, he's either trying to hound this girl for sex, and she's like 15 years old, so it's kind of awkward. But it's either he's doing that, or he's just making jokes, cracking jokes and stuff, being, you know, overly white and funny, and I thought he was really funny. You know, I really liked this character. I also liked the daughter. I thought she was, for the most part, not an overly bitchy teenager, which I liked. You know, she was relatable too, except I'm not a 15-year-old girl, but I was once, and you know, she's relatable. I liked the father. I liked the mom. I even liked that cat. Good cat. And the boy, whatever, he's a boy. I don't really give a shit about boys in any movie. So, overall, I like the characters, and that goes well with, that goes with the acting. I think the acting is really damn good in the film. It feels very real. They stumble on lines, which is good because it gives that real feel, that real feel to the family, which I liked. And for the most part, the acting is damn good in the film. The characters are really likable and very well written. And the movie is actually really, really funny at times, like I said. The boyfriend, whenever he comes on, he's saying things that are really funny, and I really enjoyed that character. I don't know why. You know, he's a douchey kid, but I don't know, I kind of liked him. Of course, it is a Paranormal Activity film, so you can have the good characters, you have the great acting, you have the good writing and the funny moments, but what you really need is the scares. And, well, Paranormal Activity 4, I wouldn't say is the worst of the four, because that would be saying, like, that would be making it sound like it was a bad movie, but it's definitely the least scary of the four, because there's a whole, it's about a 80-minute movie, I would say. the first 40 to 50 minutes aren't really scary. They do this whole thing with I shit you not, they do this whole thing with an Xbox 360 Connect, which I'm like, okay, that's not scary. And they do it a lot, where it's like a motion tracking thing, and that means, I guess you could see ghosts with a Connect, which is like the biggest endorsement for any Microsoft peripheral ever, or product, I should say, not peripheral. And yeah, it's very strange. It's not really all that scary, and they use it way too many times. And I mean, it's clever, sure, but it's not that scary. It really isn't. It's not that creepy at all, and they use it way too many times. But there is a whole 15-minute sequence at the end where they build tension. They build these like really drastic situations where they put some characters in it, and there's some really just like parts where something will happen, and you're like, what's going to happen? Like, there's a whole scene about 40 minutes into the film where a knife just like levitates up. It just like, phew, it just goes up. And this woman was cutting up some carrots or something. She comes back and she's like, where'd the knife go? And it's a whole tense scene. A whole tense scene where you're like, when's the knife going to drop on someone's head? Like a whole movie, I was expecting that knife to just come up anywhere, and it's really, really tense. It really is. I love that moment. And again, the last 15 minutes, just it's pretty damn scary, I have to admit. But still, it is the least scary of them, because there's a whole, like, I would say 50 minutes altogether, maybe even an hour of the film almost, where it's just not all that scary. It's trying way too hard, and it's the typical jump scares where, oh, jump scare, but it's, you know, it's either, you know, a cat or someone just, and there's a couple of actual jump scares with cats here, and there's a couple of them where, like, a character just tries to scare someone or something, and it's, you know, it's typical stuff for Paranormal Activity. So, even though it has a couple of really cool scares and a couple of really tense moments, I have to say this is definitely the least scary of them. I mean, good characters, very funny moments, great acting aside, this is definitely the weakest of the four for me, and I'm a huge fan of the Paranormal Activity films, so I'm going to give this one a 29 out of 40. I'm still going to give it somewhat high of a score. Also, they kept saying this in the trailer, that this was supposed to not wrap up everything, but it's all like, it's saying that all of the other movies built up to this moment, and at the end I'm like, oh, okay, it didn't really, I don't see how that built up to anything. So that was another complaint. So yeah, I'm still going to give it 29 out of 40. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. Still go see it if you're a big Paranormal Activity fan like me. But if you're not, then this is going to be the worst movie ever for you, because you're not going to like it. So anyway, there you go. There's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you and goodbye.